Back in the 90s, there was this series of strike games, isometric, glamorized Hollywood type of helo combat. And what I'm going to do today is I'm playing since recreation or inspired by a mission called Training Grounds. So in the original Jungle Strike game, it was an RAH-66 Comanche. And it's doing it in the Ka-50 today. So there's a briefing, shows certain things, and I'll show these little lovely slides in a second. To note, it's very hot. This is in the Nevada NTTR map, not a lot of wind, but there is a lot of heat, so you'll see that we also start with lesser fuel. So I'm just going to have it run auto startup and chat through it as I go. So, if you don't know the Strike series, I know it from the Sega Genesis or Mega Drive, although it got ported over many different formats. And like I said, this is glamorized helo combat. This is Airwolf stuff. You are flying dangerously close to things and then sort of circle strafe / funneling around them. And basically you're relying on strafing sideways and your speed as well as tanking hits like Doom Guy to bring you through things. Your rockets were hellishly accurate. Your gun rounds were effective against tanks in time. Yeah, it's obviously clearly the pinnacle of realism. And in addition to that, you also had to scrounge for ammo and fuel and armor sort of repairs scattered throughout the mission. And you do this via winch. So literally this Comanche had a little winch that would pop down, pick up the ammo and stuff and bring it back up. So essentially you were rearming in the field using the enemy's weaponry or little secret stashes. So it's the most clever thing actually, no one expects you to use their fob as your rearming fob. It's genius. In addition to that, you also had a rope ladder, which you would use to typically go and pick up operatives or POWs, and your Comanche turned into a clown car. You could fit quite a number of these people in before you had to go and drop them off at the frigate or destroyer, whatever your starting point was. Obviously you can't quite have all those features in DCS, and it is still DCS. Nixon has said that he's made changes and customized it for pacing and so on for the Ka-50 and for DCS, so you can't quite fly that dangerously. Things will shoot back at you, and unlike the Strike games here, one proper Sam will kill you. I wish I could tell you this is my first attempt at it, but as I say, I took it a little too recklessly. Again, it's 42 degrees at altitude, so like I said, reduced fuel, but rotor intersection is a very real thing if you're not paying attention on this kind of conditions. And like I said, I was playing recklessly, but also just the recording failed me before, which is fantastic. I love repeating stuff. Let's just wait for it to finish spooling up. I am in a nice little olive drab tannish color. Got Vikhrs, got the ougth PS8 rockets, so sort of the anti-infantry ones. In addition, there is this cool kneeboard. So default right shift K, and if I then use right shift and the square brackets to the right, I can watch the default stuff and see various things in the airports and so on. I'm going to go back left, and you can also use these little arrows. And if you go to the left at the start, you get these same little slides that's in the briefing. And they are roughly the order of the missions. I'm going to pop back out of that, get the Abris just set up. If I zoom out on the Abris, and you can just see if I select Airfield, I've only got one Airfield. It's my current Airfield home plate. And if I go to the waypoint, the first one is quite a few clicks away, and you'll see it matches this 13 clicks over here. So waypoint 1 is waypoint 2 on the Abris. If you want to know more about that, I've got a video on how the mission editor sets up your Shark. So I'm going to take off. Wheel brake. Okay, the pressure is released. Don't need to do a running takeoff-ish, but I did it anyhow. Dust filter has kicked in automatically, and I might as well engage route mode and pull my gear up. And let's just quickly set up my countermeasures to something. Like I said, dust is on. I can turn off the beacon. just because I like putting on signal flares and signal flares. Manual mode, armed, low rate of fire. Yeah, that's fine. Let's just pick up some speed. Now, like I said, I've already attempted this mission before. And that's great. Spoiler alert. First objective, I need to kill 8 troop tents and 4 watchtowers. So they need to be taken out before they can warn the enemy, because clearly my skills are such that I destroy them before they can pick up the radio. Let's pick up a bit more speed here. And I'm just going to zoom in here. So if I scope out the area there, you'll see that there's a ridge just before this river over here. So I can't actually see it. So I don't want to pop literally over an encampment. So while I'm chatting, I'm just going to have it steer itself. Route mode is on. I'm going to turn on auto turn as well. So that's going to override it. So just move it out a little more to the left there. And turn off the waypoint. Right, so I need to take out the 8 troop tents and the 4 watchtowers. So this is sort of light resistance. And obviously he's done some custom work getting these views in, Nixon, because these are DCS assets. It's not from the original Strike series. So next one is I need to defend the airfield at Mesquite. I hope I'm pronouncing it correctly. And there's a bunch of armor going there. And once I've cleared all the hostiles, I can re-arm at Mesquite. So I need to sort of save my Vikhrs for this armored assault. Let's pick up a bit more speed. Save my Vikhrs for that. And I can re-arm and refuel there. So I can waste rockets and everything leading up to it. And following that, the next mission, I need to take out 3 SAM sites. Then I need to pick up a Comms Ekspurt by blowing up in the facility he's being held for interrogation. I blow that up and then I can pick him up. I'm assuming it's not a rope ladder like in the Strike games. I'm assuming I'll probably land nearby. Next up is I need to drop him off so you can plant a wiretap. Good old CIA stuff. That's one thing about the Strike games. They've made you feel like the badass, like you are the sole force in that area and you were doing everything to make it happen and putting other select team members in the right places. And it varied up the missions in the same, you know, your tasks in the same mission. That was pretty cool. Then, second to last, I need to take out a bunch of T-90s. So what I did miss is when you put, or didn't mention, is that when you plant the wiretap, if you don't destroy their equipment, I need to drop them off the intel building so I can establish a wiretap. Small FOB. If I don't destroy the FOB equipment, then I can rearm there, which is going to be pretty cool because then I'm fully stocked up for the T-90s. And then finally, which I'm pretty sure I'm going to fail outright, is I need to slingload a nuclear reactor. And that's totally not something I've practiced at all. Now, yes, technically, if you look in the manual, the limit for the sling loading hook on the Ka-50 is 500 kgs. Suspension of disbelief, we're going to do 2000. Hopefully I'm going to do 2000 if I don't snap the cable, which is entirely likely. So, back to these. So after the Strike games, these are Desert Strike, Jungle Strike, that kind of stuff, after they went away, they sort of faded in popularity. It's been slim pickings in this sense since. The Renegade Ops game where you travel around in vehicles, okay, there it is. Yeah, some BTRs around there, which are the more of a threat than the watchtowers themselves. So I just want to come around this embankment. So there's a Renegade Ops game which has some helo sections, but not loads. Yeah, I think we're in range of guns, but not them having runs. So auto turn off, route mode off. Apply the brakes somewhat. Get more power so I don't start falling out of the sky into VRS. So hovering here would take a bit more force than normal if I was the same load of fuel given the altitude and all that. Renegade Ops had a few helo missions in it, but they weren't quite in the same flavor or vein. But mop-up. And then there have been a few sort of indie, you know, I want to say homebrew Desert Strike type of remakes. There is something that was going to be greenlit called, on Steam greenlit, called Alligator Strike, which did get a 1.2 demo. I think that faded away or doesn't exist anymore, but there is a 1.2 demo. I haven't tried it, and as anything you download off the net, you know, virus scan and such, with any file really. I'm going to go with HE, and I might as well have the long burst and then just control it, and I'll stick with low rate of fire. And it is almost lined up. Now I'm going to put on moving target and just watch. At this kind of distance, the AP ammo... Nice. I just wanted to kill him before he starts moving. Otherwise, if he jinks and banks all over the place, then I don't. It's harder to spot. I'm actually a bit close and a bit high. I did spot a second vehicle. Ah, he's moving. Okay. And at this distance, if I were to use AP ammo, it wouldn't hit as hard. The AP ammo loses quite a bit of, even on the this kind of light armor like a BTR, it loses quite a bit of potential at this distance. Quite a bit of damage fall off. Whereas the HE ammo, I think it might not at all lose penetration or ability to inflict harm, and I think I need 2 direct hits with an HE rounds to kill a BTR. I am a bit further away from this guy. So, there was also this Alligator Strike, which has you flying around in a Ka-50 with a turret, but the sound on that, the design is close to the Strike series. That one's pretty, you know, I've just watched videos of it, it looks pretty on point. And then, hopefully, later this year, there's something coming out called Megacopter Blades of the Goddess on Steam, which I'm looking forward to as well. That's sort of a more alien, you're fighting aliens, asymmetric helicopter, but also very much in the spirit of. So hopefully that's coming out later this year. Oh, this guy's lucky. And I'm getting close to the watchtower, but I might as well get a bit more accuracy and be able to get my AP rounds to hit more solidly. The next armored assault, I don't plan on using my AP rounds against tanks and stuff. Finally. Don't think I'm seeing any incoming fire. So if this is one of the strike games, I'd be circling right now rather than hovering, but you could hover just fine. I'm gonna go with AP ammo. Just use auto turn quickly to get onto their point. And that is a civic car. So if this was one of the strike games, that might even be a drug lord. So that's one watchtower. So I recall in the Jungle Strike in those games, you had these watchtowers. It was just a dude standing on the platform, and then the animations and stuff, they were pretty rad in terms of you shot the guy, you did the typical Hollywood somersault off the platform as you shot him down, if I recall correctly, and then you could still shoot down watchtower itself. Now, there are 3 watchtowers. The 4th watchtower is this main bunker building in the complex there. So I'm gonna put 1 Vikhr into it. Just soften it up, and then I'll finish it off with AP rounds in a second. Okay. And back to the tents. I'm gonna use HE ammo. Don't need to kill the infantry. What is with this ranging corruption on this map? I don't think it's mission based. It's not lasing. As soon as I move it, it suddenly resets the range. I don't know if it's maybe this NTTR map or something. I don't fly on it that often. Did I get both? And I am sinking. I'm resetting my laser using a key binding, but I mean essentially that as soon as I can, just because I think I need to protect it given the length of the mission. Okay, is that everyone? Main complex. And gun, I'm going to use the AP rounds. Just put some lead on that complex. Ooh, boom. Now, as soon as that finishes burning, move on to the next waypoint. Waypoint 2. I don't need to take out the infantry. I can if I wanted to, but they live today. Now, as soon as that finishes cooking off, you're gonna hear a cool prompt. Little custom sound effects loaded in. Yep. So I'm just gonna zoom out your map. And then on the kneeboard, 34Ks. So yeah, my blade angle's getting a bit closer. Okay, so next mission. Defend the airfield. Okay, so there is some friendly armor, but they're not gonna last very long, it says. I'm gonna rest my altitude a little bit. Just checking my parameters, everything still seems good, feels good. And that must be Mesquite up ahead. Wait, am I seeing fire up ahead? Yeah, something's happening. That must be the convoy coming in. No, that must be the defenders taking hits. Well, they got one. Oh, and there's a second convoy of tanks. So these are BMPs or something. I think that's all the defense did. Fantastic. That's okay. That means I come in to save the day. In about half an hour, because there's 20Ks. More for me. That's okay. I've got 11 Vikhrs with their names on it. So switch off the lasers so it doesn't unduly fire. There's quite a few things to laser and take out, especially with the guns. I'm trying to save the laser on this. Yeah, and I might as well reset the standby altitude indicator. Wind is from which direction? 038. Oh, okay, so pretty much dead ahead. That makes life easier. Speaking of nostalgia thing, you sort of raid army moving on, well, Texas, I guess. World in conflict, of course. I also had the Soviets suddenly launching an attack in the middle of America, or rather from the ports, and then I think it was San Francisco, something like that. And you end up fighting in areas like this as well. Which I still maintain DCS should have. So I'm using the smoke mod. Okay, so the smoke looks, yeah, it's got a little bit of flicker now and then occasionally, but it looks a lot better than the default in DCS at the moment. Which I'm hoping 2.7 and the weather updates also maybe upgrade the FX, and especially if later in this year with all the additional healers they're bringing in. So what World in Conflict also had is it had Z-feathering or soft particles in the smokes and such. So it had, firstly, like really impressive nukes. 8 clicks out. So I'm gonna just trim, turn off route mode. Might as well turn off the waypoint as well, and I should start arresting my speed. So I had impressive nukes and explosions and artillery fire and stuff like that. Again, not talking about realism necessarily, but just it had a good amount of debris scattering over it after impact and impressive looking smoke. But what it also had, 7 should be okay in terms of 7Ks in terms of having a good chance to hit. This is slow right down. I don't want to get it within 4 clicks of those tanks. But in addition to that, it also had this Z-feathering or soft particles, which just basically means like normally smoke is like the trees in DCS, it's like a billboard, just a flat plane. So if it clips into something, you can see this very sharp line as to where it intersects. Okay, reset laser and Vikhr rifle. It has a very, very sharp line as to when it goes through a building and stuff. And sometimes in DCS, if you fly through mist and stuff, you can see these sort of layers of this stuff coming through your cockpit. Now, of course, it shouldn't happen in your cockpit, but I mean, that's additional coding and stuff for that to happen. But what soft particles does is sort of makes it actually, although it isn't a full volumetric effect, which would be hellishly... I missed. It happens. It sort of fades it out, so it looks like an actual volume of smoke or cloud or something like that. So it also means that when they intersect things and so on, it just looks quite a bit better. And it had the nice rolling effect as well, you know, for that kind of smoke. No, I don't like that lock. I'm actually gonna lock it manually first. No. I'm being very pedantic because I don't want to waste more Vikhrs. Okay. Just obscure everything, why don't you? Nice broadside. I'm using manual mode, so I don't need to be exactly on pawn, because it's 7Ks out. I wonder if the heat's actually affecting it. You know, the probability of hit. Shack. And I reset my laser after every time, just... See, so that explosion, that smoke should actually disrupt the laser for a second or two. Although, then again, because it is a beam rider, you know, it would only actually affect the Vikhr if it was already there, sort of going through the smoke. It doesn't have to refract back through the smoke to get to the secret. Let's get a little more accurate. So yeah, in the Jungle Strike games, I would probably be within, I guess, not even a kilometer, and you'd be really low down on the ground. You'd be circling around them, busy pumping rockets into them and the occasional hellfire. Just now and then when you reset the laser, you'll also see that it's as at the end of a cycle. So you reset it and it immediately hops back up to 8. It's got to reset it a second time, so it ends that cycle as well. Of firing, I mean, not of cooling. Two different things. Someday I will get around to all those boring tests of checking exactly when... Are you actually cooking off? I think you are. What accelerates the loss of the laser? Or at least your coolant expenditure. So these, I think, are BMPs. I am liking it that I'm not getting little bogus text pop-up messages all the way through. And that should be a shock. Okay, I do like that my odds have improved now. I'm not missing more Vikhrs. So I should have one spare, I think, because there's at least 2 more of these BMPs. Because fortunately, my boys, my buddies in blue, got one of them there on the hill before they were simply overwhelmed. Okay, where are you at? One of you drove away. Rifle. Or I could just miscount and have 2 spare Vikhrs, but let's see if there's still something hiding closer to me amongst these warehouses. And... sploosh. And I don't even have to go looking, because I got the nice ding ding psychological validation. Now, this is Mesquite, and friendly airfield. I can go and restock there. And for what it's worth, I do still reckon the Comanche is one of the sexiest looking aircraft, or healers at least. I think that was one of the things, is like in the strike games, or at least Jungle Strike and that kind of thing. If you got near the frigate especially, then it automatically safed your weapons. You didn't have a choice. I think I'm a little hazy if you could kill civilians by accident or basically inflict collateral. I think you could. But there were also cases of there were hidden stockpiles in the middle of Washington DC, and basically you could pop open some of the buildings like a piñata and find the hidden Easter egg ammo inside. Exactly how it works in real life. So next up, I need to do 3 radar sites. And I happen to know that they are, let's go into map and zoom out, they are these next 3 sites over here. So I don't have to go looking for them, it's telling me exactly where they're at and where I need to strike, which is pretty perfect. Especially for a solo Ka-50 on this roll. Now I do recall that it says I can rearm before the T-90s as long as I don't destroy the FOB. So I can actually Vikhr some of these people. And I might just do that with this guy over here. Well, this must be a bit slow. Yeah, might as well put on auto turn and have it just... So it is sliding at the moment. I haven't laser ranged. I could, given it's 11 clicks, so it should be in range. I don't like the looks of you. So once I get within 9-ish, I should be able to lock him up. This is already zoomed in. Yeah, still some bit to go. Yeah, let's put a Vikhr on that guy. And that looks like it might be a manpad. BTR, gas truck. I want to say it's a Humvee, but... okay. Stolen tech. Maybe it's good if I turn the weapons on. Possibly, maybe. Also, the magic of arcade game helicopter logic. You winch up this crate and immediately it is instantaneously repaired your aircraft or refueled it or loaded the munitions into the hoppers, whether they're external or internal. Good old instant gratification. With, like I said, the sound effects to boot. You did have resource management though, and in the very limited sense of, you know, there was only limited amounts of supplies and crates and fuel. So you had to be very judicious about when you're going to go do that mission and then you're going to go pick up that bit of that fuel drum over there, because if you've spent it, you've spent it, and if you're going to just pick up things willy-nilly, rifle. That should be a pretty central hit. Shack. No, I don't like the gas truck, but more importantly, I don't like these boys. So I'm gonna get real low on the deck. Shkval's gonna use this now, might as well reset it. I don't want to do a rocket run of those all manpads. Okay, so Airbus is reckoning it's 4 clicks. Sorry, 5 clicks from them at the moment, so let's now sneak up a bit closer. Actually, that's not sneaking, but I'm building up their suspension of dread, you know? They know I'm coming, they can see me sneaking, again, not sneaking, they can see me creeping up. This is their imminent dooms. Still got ETL, barely, I think. Wait, what's the one happening? Slightly from the left. HE ammo.
Lower gear.
No, I'd rather not.
Lower gear.
Okay, I think I hit the radar.
Gear.
Let's just turn on
Gear.
this as you'd hold. Oh, come on. Okay, let me just put a few more runs into it. Why is it like I got no power? Yeah, ditch these rockets. I'm asking why I had no power. It's obviously to do with the temp.
Lower gear.
No. To the temps, but... Say hello to my friends. That's gotta be death. He said with so much confidence. Such bravery, standing with all that stuff raining around him. Okay, that's you. Let me not meet this tree. And I believe that's all the manpad type stuff. So now I might as well gain a bit of altitude. Put on moving target just in case, although I'm assuming that would be, yep. And your friend. You know what, I'm going to put off the dust protection as well. It's also because I've stocked up with more fuel than I started off with. When I was saying my hover performance is decayed. Don't think about a higher altitude than when I started at. Okay, I want to say all the infantry is dead, which is good because this, if I have it right, this final waypoint, I have to eventually slingload back here, so I need to sort of clear the route. Might as well switch to AP for this guy. And sneak in a little... Well, again, I say sneak. Come in like Airwolf, or just, I guess, any kind of jungle or strike helo and strike series helo, and just lay down some heat. Yeah, it might have been overkill. Not seeing anyone else alive, but just checking. I don't want to be carrying that reactor and suddenly take a hit. I mean, not like dropping a reactor immediately causes a nuclear explosion, but I mean, imagine this is the strike series, okay? It's Hollywood kind of logic. That's how it works. Anything that can explode will explode on collision or impact or open flame. It's exactly how it works. I don't know if someone can comment, but do coaxial rotors experience, or rather as a pilot in a coaxial rotor, do you experience shudders or any kind of feeling sensation like that when you're crossing translational lift and ETL? Currently in the sim, the Black Shark, you don't, and maybe that's correct. Maybe that's exactly how it should be. Like, for example, in the Mi-8, you know, there's quite a considerable shudder as you go through translational lift. There, looks like a shilker. I'm not too afraid of them. And then there are manpads. I mean, if it was a 57mm thing, I'd have a bit more of a thought about it, but no. And for safety's sake, let me just put around it. I actually wonder if I could pull off an 11k shot with this, given my altitude difference. Wow, actually barreling down on them quite accurately. You know what, let me try a 10k shot. I think they only start firing at about 2.5-ish. So, I mean, I really don't need to shoot this early, but let's see. Actually, let's get an action shot. Boom. And yes, according to trials or whatever, Vikhrs could hit at 10Ks. I don't necessarily think from this altitude, or rather, you know, you wouldn't necessarily test things from this altitude always, or you wouldn't plan to be this high maybe. But, you know, it could reach there sometimes. Well, according to the material, which, you know, as always, these things could have propaganda attached. I need to trim, I need to turn off auto. And I need to get considerably over. Is there a bit of a bump? Yeah, there is. No, it's not 24Ks, it's 5Ks. Where's the smoke? There's the smoke. I honestly can't remember necessarily this mission, or, you know, many missions out of Jungle Strike. It's been a while. I need to maybe watch one of those long plays again someday. Or maybe they release it on some kind of retro arcade type of, you know, platform for PC. I'd want to play it again. But other stuff you also had is throughout your missions you could go and rescue certain of your wingmen. Not wingman, your co-pilot, and their abilities determined how easy or hard it was to winch up stuff. So essentially that just made it that instead of like DCS when you're trying to sling load and you're trying to get it exact right millimeter to pick up the thing, that sort of gave you a radius in which to pick up stuff, so you could do it more on the move or more while you're being shot at, kind of thing. And then they also had stats for sort of gunnery, you know, how much spray there was to their aim. Actually, so this final site is the one that's getting me. And for knowledge, I know there's a BMP there that doesn't like me with its tow missiles. So given that they're right behind this little slope here, I don't know if I can... lowering the brightness seems to sort of seems like it ups the contrast. I don't want to be that close to it. I'm gonna circle wide. and get a shot from the side. And I happen to know that on that slope, sort of that embankment as well, so you can't just be like right on the ground very nearby, you won't be able to see them. They might, I think there is manpads there as well. So I want to head there-ish. Okay, there's some candidates. What we got? Yeah. So that would be the BMP, I assume. Don't know what the thing in front of it is. I might just end up Vikhring both of them. Distance 13 clicks. I'm pretty sure it's a BMP, so I'm not going to target him first. I'm going to target his friend, which might be a Strela. You know what, if they got early warning as well, I'm not exactly up for that fight as is. Let's just keep a bit of side slip. Just to see if they're launching at me. Yeah, so I'm gonna take it then from the water side. 8.8 points. Okay, so it seems like my lasing of it is fairly accurate to what the Abris is telling me the distance is to that waypoint. So they seem to coincide pretty well. So I'm gonna make sure I stay outside 8 clicks. I'm gonna make sure I stay low. Bit more power. Altitude hold on, I am in red alt. Don't appear to be dropping. Could go a little lower. And I could go a little slower. Distance 6.8. Just gonna swing out a bit wider. And collective brake again. Just set it to try and maintain 8. Do I need to cross the bank? You just always need to, if you're doing this kind of low flight and you're relying on altitude hold, just give it the occasional check because things aren't always perfect. I can now slip to 5, cannot recover. And at least I've got this little scale over here telling me. Six Ks. Okay. And water. I prefer to be over the ground if I can. That way, if I were to descend with my gear down, I've got a chance. Whereas water, of course, is just instantaneous death. Well, loss of airframe at least. Okay, that's seeming. I just need to watch out now for a launch. And I assume your friend can't do anything about it. And then 2 missile infantry of some form, or RPG, I don't know. And now I immediately feel a ton safer. You know what Prudence says? I should actually take out the guy that's got a Oh! Oh! I thought you were dead. That's a thing. That has to be you, Shacked. Thank you. I don't need to take him out, but I don't want to exfil out of here and get a random shot in the bum. Which was also true for Jungle Strike. You didn't need to kill everything on the map always, you know, there was sort of select your objectives, and you can go about it from different angles, usually. Okay, so that was these radar sites. So now, so this would be waypoint 6, which is the last one that's actually still coded onto my Abris. Put on route mode. Let's get scope on there. Don't think there's anything left. Okay. And I can say back in, yes, suspend and map and zoom out. So this is heading there, destroying the compound, which I should probably do with a Vikhr or 2. Let's just get ETL happening here. Core trying to break into enemy intel facility is being interrogated. Nearby outpost, blow it open to rescue him. Okay, so this is pretty explicitly I should destroy it, and apparently that bears no risk for him. So let's assume he's underground, and I neatly just blow open the door with a carefully timed nasty warhead. HE rounds, 40, 200 rounds AP. Okay, the AP rounds will do well against that outpost. And then 7 Vikhrs, no rockets. And again, I think I had to ditch the rockets because I had taken 86% fuel was higher than what I had started with at the beginning of the mission. I can gear up. Okay, so blow it open to rescue. Still reading it over and over just in case I mess it up and somehow end up killing him. And then Secure the area around. Okay, so I'm assuming there'll be a couple of vehicles and stuff around the intel post, and if I don't, I suppose I shouldn't destroy the intel post itself. And if I don't destroy anything at the fob that's nearby, then I can use that. So I probably need to kill a few vehicles around the fob and then just drop them off by landing at the fob, possibly, or nearby the outpost. Gotcha. And then it's the T-90s. And it's the group, I guess, that's a large group that I don't think they're moving, they're just parking somewhere. And to destroy their whole depot of tanks. Gotcha. Doesn't say what other defenses. And then there's the nasty sling loading. Fantastic. I'm actually looking forward to it, despite it being entirely daunting. What's my range? 28 clicks. Other side of the hill. Okay. So, let me see. I don't like approaching it from the top of the mountain. And that's why I also don't have to fly quite as high. And see, I might end up fast forwarding this segment because I assume this is going to be straight flying. You know what, I'll stick at 200 kph airspeed. Yeah, that's airspeed. And I'll probably trim it once it settles. Wind was 038 for 2 meters a second, so that is from my left. So eventually when I aim at the outpost, it'll still might want to weather vane very slightly towards the left. Gotcha. Can take you away. Trim. So if I got it right, I've already set up, I don't think it works now. No, it doesn't. I've already set it up for the cargo, that I've got keybinds for the cargo indicator, the cargo hook indicator at least, as well as the auto hook and auto unhook for the sling loading the reactor. That is the sky, as there's a fuel tank. So, I mean, if you think about it, this is, you know, the Black Shark would have been a close second for this typical kind of jungle strike mission, because you're hunting drag lords, and the very premise of that Black Shark movie is that, you know, it's combating a drug lord or some such, so the shark was born for this. You know what, I've got no idea if they're SAMs or not. So I'll probably end up aiming for one of those little peninsulas again. Okay, so let's trim, route mode off, auto turn off. Ooh, I can have eyes on. Okay, so we've got watchtowers, outpost, infantry or ZU-23s. What are you? I think you're a BTR. Do you have an aerial? I think you've got an aerial. And then BRDM, doesn't matter. Is that it? And this is a gas truck? I could use a bit more power. I'm going to rely on not messing up that fob. So I'm going to use Vikhrs on this. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it was a BTR-82. Truck. BRDM, not worried. Okay, I'm gonna put... What is that around it? Yeah, I think that's possibly the BRDM outranges. I'm not seeing any of them with a shoulder mounted, you know, manpad type thing, which makes me happy. So, as I was saying, so, you know, Jungle Strike and that, it generally showed you exactly where your objectives were, but it didn't show you, I mean, there were random dudes scattered all over the map, although it's not quite DCS scale of you missed a manpad in the woods, and he pops you, and that's it. You know, thanks for playing. No, this is just you take another hit, which, I mean, depending on how much armor you had. Let's turn forward 10. This is relays in case that needs adjusting. Little is the wind. You know what? Go HE ammo for this. Because there are also dudes nearby, and maybe I catch him. Looked like there was a direct hit. Oh, that guy's got a RPG or something. Okay, now I'm gonna hold up the brakes. Okay, that's that. Whoops.
Lower gear.
Was I hit?
Lower gear.
Let me just show for a second. Confirm nothing's bust. Gear did go down. Let's put on the brakes. Engines seem fine, that seems fine. Not losing any hydraulics, not getting any cron messages. Nothing lit up. Does flares work? You know what? Let's just up it a little. Okay. Turn off altitude hold. And if I was clever, I would have remembered where that shot came from. I think it's from the soldier or the RPG or the manpad that was nearby the vehicle I popped, but I don't recall, which I really should have. Panic. It's an amazing ability of making you not pay attention. So this is sneaking closer towards the 2.5k mark. But I mean, I did take care of the BRDM here. There's the watchtowers. Okay, I don't want to go higher than 6 meters, say. Just to be on the safe side. Because I'm hovering. Or close to it. Okay. And they are very quickly put auto hover on and off. This is not AP ammo, because that's all I got left. And I'm being very tight about my ammo now. AP around to the face. No, I do recall seeing a little man. Yeah, you look like you're carrying pack and heat. M16 or AK, I guess. Oh, suddenly this cannon has become a sniper of note. Well, I mean, it is normally a sister. I've had bad luck with it earlier this mission. And these are AP rounds. Turn on auto turn, quickly get me a little more in the gate. Oh, in the stomach. Okay, that's a chimney, not a man on the roof. Aiming in the slightly up from the base of the watchtower, because that way bullets that would have fallen short before still hit the base of the tower. Normally if I'm aiming for a soldier or something with high X round, I'll aim a little about at his feet, because that way you can still have, you know, rounds landing very near his feet and still popping off. One watchtower left after this one. Although there might still be dudes on the other side of the outpost, I just need to check out for that. I don't recall if it happened in the Strike games that if you freed a POW or something that the enemies targeted it. I don't think so. DCS might be a thing though. So I might just want to check around the other side of the building before I blow it up. Although I need to bear in mind that that building can still fire at me. Thought I would have boomed, but it must have just been a delayed reaction. Okay, let me slide up leftways around this hill. Turn the laser off. Turn auto hover off. You know, I can turn on auto turn. Turn it back on. Just scope out this area. You are dead. Those are flags and tires. So before I get any closer... Whoops. Is that my laser? Okay, I didn't even have to stop the laser there, even though it was locking. So I'm pretty sure my Vikhr is toasty right now, unless I were to go up real close like. Maybe I shouldn't put excessive rounds in this building. Just now the guy pops out and gets a AP round the face. You know what, these Vikhrs are anyway useless. Do I need to be in 500 meters? Okay, I probably need to use it like a dumb fire weapon. Okay, red alt can go off. Oh, I mean, holding. So it's probably a damn idea. Yeah. Looked like it popped. Let's hope it doesn't shoot me. Okay. I think this guy will be fine on his own. So, what I'm gonna do is actually be extremely thematic. And do the whole Jungle Strike thing where you go looking for armor and such. Let's just turn back on that blade angle. So, I don't know what's gonna be at the next waypoint. I know it's supposed to be a FARP, but I don't know what's gonna be there. And I'm assuming it needs more than just possibly 30 rounds of AP. So what I'm gonna do is I'm going to RTB. Back to Mesquite. Okay, so was that the explosion, guys? I think so. Way out. Once you've taken care of the hostiles, land inside those red flags and I'll hop in. Great stuff. So I think I did exactly that. Looks like the hostiles are cleared. Okay, so it was just a two-part mission of if you were to destroy the outpost first, he'll say that these are only coming out once the hostiles are cleared, and once that happens, I land with those tired flags. But, like I said, I don't know what is at the Wiretap building, and it said if I don't destroy the FARP equipment, so I'm assuming there might be some baddies nearby, and not knowing what kind. I mean, if it's a BMP or a tank or some such, my Vikhrs can't. I mean, I'll have to be less than a K to do it. You saw that shot I had to do on the outpost. I just need to make sure I don't get a rotor clash this high up. Actually, I think home is faster. Not waypoint 1, that'll be airfield 1. Your distance is crawling down. Yeah. Home, home, home. So inevitably in the Jungle Strike and those kind of things, there was a point whereby you have to go looking for, you know, all the hot zones. You've just expended all your ammo out of that area, and now you need to fly off to some distant corner of the map to go and pick up more armor, especially armor was rare, or that bit of ammo, or back to your frigate to go and drop off, you know, some of the POWs that you've picked up. So, I mean, thematically this is that. I'm needing to go to the far corner of the map to go and do something. And in this case, it's just I need to set down and switch off engines and everything so that I can repair, so that I can get this laser fixed. I suppose I would have had Braun out by now. Landing like this. Okay, looks clear. Running over to you. Is anyone actually running? Hey, it is. Okay, so clearly he's either blinded by the dust or he's been interrogated and in pain. Okay, now what? Do I need to slingload you? What's the story? So in the Jungle Strike series, at least when you're dropping people off, then you land and then they'll hop out. When you load them up, you tend to rope ladder them. Okay, I've tried with this guy, landing him right in the middle. He did not seem to care. So that trigger might be slightly bust. Nixon's away. Yeah, that guy's just meant to despawn. And then I've loaded him up. In the meantime, I'm gonna continue on with the mission. Now, I've hit waypoint 6, which is the last waypoint the PV-800 could possibly have. So, no more route mode travel. Weapons are hot. Gear can go up. And this would be where I would have needed to drop him off now. Weapon can go away. So, 23 clicks. Just speed this up a little. I don't always do this, just I can sense this video is probably getting a bit long. Speed's looking good, feels okay. Let me just zoom out a bit. Check out my terrain. So, just next to the river. Oh, 10 clicks away. That river. Should be about there-ish. Okay, that is a BRDM, looks like, or it's a Strela. You I don't like. No offense, but... So there's still definitely a shulker in that mix. You know what, I don't need to take risks at this point. Can just pop him. Two little friends over there. Seemingly unarmed. Gas truck. Just hope this doesn't pop any of the other fuel trucks nearby, which it shouldn't. That's a bit far out. Well, not real life in terms of shrapnel, but... Okay... Don't know what weaponry you're carrying, but the rest of you seemed unarmed. So let's put a bead on you. Can't lock for some reason. Auto armor off, creep a little closer. IX, which I still regard as more valuable than AP. Because of not having that damage decay over distance. Think in Jungle Strike you just had straight up 1,000 rounds of do everything ammo. Including whittling down tanks. Okay, strictly speaking you can whittle down a tank, especially from the rear with this AP ammo, but you are testing it. Think us on, Phil. Wow, okay. Something weird and happy is happening with the laser on this map at the moment. Or rather, the ranging.
Lower gear. Lower gear.
Might as well entertain the lady. But yeah, I'm not used to, unless it's some very recent patch thing. I mean, even though there weren't any updates to the Ka-50 that I'm aware of, that is not what it's supposed to be doing. It doesn't, you know, lose its, you know, as soon as you slide off the target, immediately go crazy range. Especially if I'm not ranging anymore. Auto turn is off, great. See, yeah, you see now, me just moving, it shouldn't have nulled out the range there. None of you look hostile. Again with the ranging, wow. And even the helmet's away. Okay, so there's something definitely funky with this. I want to say the map, because I haven't experienced this recently. But the ranging seems to keep resetting down to almost zero. And I have noted, I think my second video I noted the bug before, whereby if your laser is currently firing, you know, if you got a little countdown happening here, if you then were to slew, especially I guess using the hat, you know, look around and then lock again, then it's quite likely to corrupt the range, as in then it starts going down typically to a very low number. But I'm not used to it doing it like and I mean, if it loses track of a close by target, oh sorry, a moving target, especially a fast moving one, then it can sort of scale out in distances, or, you know, now and then it does lose lock, as I guess these systems do. But especially if it's relaced, you know, then it's shooting off like that. Something is weird. So I guess I'm in to land either at the FOB or at the radio station. So let me land at the FOB itself. Gear is down. Let me see, maybe I can complete this mission anyway. Put on the brakes. Well, I can rearm.
Request refueling. Request rounding. Copy.
So, if the previous trigger had worked correctly, which I assume it, you know, maybe it's something that Nixon can't fix, and I'm assuming so. You know, DCS in its versions now and then messes with triggers and whatnot. Then I should have been able to, the guy would have despawned, I should have been able to pick him up and... Whoops. Bad soon. Bad broken. Oh, it's not triggering him helping out, which I assume it should have. Okay, you know what, let's just proceed on to the next waypoint. Kill the tanks. Wait.
Request rearming. Copy.
Yeah, they can do it from a distance. I'm aware that my gear is no longer happy. Would have been sweet to have that mission. Mission complete, psychological validation. Okay, I think that's the ammo resetting. Yeah, ammo's filled up, just waiting for the Vikhrs.
Rearming complete.
Okay. You know what, let me just... No, I don't trust my gear anymore, so I'm not gonna... I'm gonna leave my gear out for now. Wait, let me just get an accurate reading on this. Suspend 19 Ks. Oh, can I see it from here? Truck. Yeah, just speeding up. I might not do this normally, it's just because I'm doing a single player mission now and trying to save your time while I don't have anything really intelligent and hilarious to say. Just like normal. Don't think there's anything threat now. Is that a compound? Yeah, it's a compound that I'll need to put AP ammo into. Hello. I really don't like your existence. And you've noticed me. So route mode off. Just keep looking at him for a launch. Come on, hit, check. You I also don't like. Nothing personal, just... And I want to hit on the brakes. Yeah, you noticed me too. You see there, I didn't actually relays. Should have reset the laser there. Because it's already got a ranging, I can just, yeah, that's close enough. I can just fire, not even locking here. What I could do is just reset there, which I did now this time. And I should actually be able to fire 2 at a time. Slowly guide it in. Oh, you're not the last one. So it goes slightly further, but it should still be in that plus 6-second margin. Although I am also slipping backwards ever so slightly. So it might not hit on 6. Well, pretty close actually. You see, you're not a tank. What's the mission here? So, often enough in the Jungle Strike stuff, you don't have to do the missions in exact sequence either. Mission 6 complete. Okay, that's the tank depot. So, I found the reactor. Standoff codes. We radio back to F10, request codes. Need me to read them to you again? Wait, seems that they dispatched a couple of hinds to come searching for you and their ground units are on high alert. If you need to rearm, come back, but do it quick. Be careful, Chief. Okay. So I gotta be on the lookout for hinds. Yeah, that's pretty cool. Okay. So that's not where the reactor is. I'll have to capture the codes. So I did expend a couple of Vikhrs and I might want a couple more for the tank. So let me head back to him and go and rearm. I'm completely paranoid about hinds coming to hunt me. So in Jungle Strike and so on, you could choose to not do the missions in exact sequence often enough. Yeah, they were often, I want to say, of increasing difficulty, but it was also like here they generally all put together, but there you'd have the map and you'd sort of have a bird's eye view of everything from the start, and then there would typically be these things scattered all over the map. Okay, so I might as well enter the codes. Yeah, let's make it a nav target. Okay, so slash F10 request reactor location. So 0, 36, 33, 61, 0, 1, 1, 3, 3, 7, 5, 9. Actually, I messed it up. Okay, those codes are correct, except for this should be minus, so. Because this is west and I'm not often used to playing on Nevada. Okay. Capture 0. No. Nav target 1. I get nav target 2 just in case. Now 0, 36, 33, 6. I don't know if I've got minus bound. It's just 1. Okay. 1, 1, 3, 37, 5. Close enough, hopefully. So, gone to rearm, come back, I've entered the coordinates. Then, because let me just check. No, it's not repeating them again, so it repeats them once. Maybe Nixon can change that as well. But either way, so I've got nav target 1, and this is why I entered it west as in positive, which is incorrect. Whoops. I need to be going to 2, which is same coordinates, just negative as in west. And undo auto turn, because that's not what I want. Definitively not what I want. What I do want to do is switch on air-to-air mode. Because there could be hinds somewhere in the area. And what I have noticed is you can see them via the F2, I believe, at the moment. But, I mean, for your own immersion's sake, I'd say don't do that. What I have validated is, yeah, in fact my gear is stuck. Only the one that's lit up actually retracts. So just for safety's sake, I'm not going faster than 200 for the landing grade doors. I don't want to mess them up any further. You see, I think that's still an outpost, but I'm pretty far away from it. Okay, so what's my distance to this? 49 k's. So at the moment my Abris is not going to show the right distance there. What I do need to do is I need to tell this that I need to be heading back to Mesquite, which is over there. So that's waypoint 2 after I start sling loading this. So my fuel should be slightly depleted by then. Hopefully I don't need to face hinds while I'm sling loading, because that would be a bit intense. Now I'm hoping that if they come for me, they come for me before. Slaviate head mode on. So that activates the proximity fuse that lets you trigger the fragmentation sleeve. If I can get a tail rotor with that, then it's pretty much instant death. I know sometimes for some reason the AI healers are able to take a Vikhr to the face and still keep flying somehow. Yes, and I know things are designed to penetrate armor, aren't necessarily designed to go through something that's got soft armor, but you know, especially now that the frag sleeve happens to be activated as well. At the same time, you know, whether or not it is. So I mean, a hind could catch up to me with my current speed of 200 clicks. Okay, and I think I'm out of range of the outpost there, which I think is still alive. I don't think I shot it. Oh, now that psychological validation of hearing that mission complete on picking up the wiretapping agent. Ooh, I'm missing that now. Hopefully you guys get to experience that with a small patch. That's a BMP. More BMP. I do not have auto turn on, So that seems to be my destination. No, that's just a building there. That's not what I'm meant to be sling loading. It's probably back of the building. Or it's that. It's exactly that, I think. Okay, but then where are these hinds now? Starting to get just a little paranoid. Distance 8. Okay, now I'm gonna add in this take off route mode. I actually needed to take off anti-air because that adds the frag sleeve effect, which means, yeah, it popped near it. And not on it. Might as well take off target point. Let me just do a quick scan of my surroundings. Make sure they haven't been circled. That's not exactly a thorough check, but... And I haven't checked above me at all. Thought I saw white. And that's my Shkval gone. Fantastic. I don't think I can take out those BMPs without a Shkval. That's just too risky. Yeah, Shkval fails, so... Canister lays. What does that sound? Okay, I think that's an RTB. And then we got a mesquite. Okay, let me actually play it risky and ditch my 8. Ditch some weight. Okay, engine 2 might need to perform overtime. Yeah. Well, that's an RPM warning. Is it? I do need to get some speed though. And there's that as well, so that means hydraulic failure. I mean, auto flight director is useless now. Just push up the throttles. See if the ground effect can do anything. Okay. You know what? Get that bit of extra power out. Come on. Come on. Come on, get ETL. Maybe I need to stay in ground effect the whole time. It's because I'm 1,200, 300 feet meters altitude. Ooh, I'm not looking forward to these mountains. Come on, I need speed. Balance between ground effect and speed. I mean, 130 is the optimal climbing. No, that needs one of the hinds ending me down. Can't trim and let go of the stick. Wow. And that hit pretty hard. And that's a missing Shkval. I even think my rudder is not exactly centered anymore. Wow, keeping it afloat with that sort of just that one engine at 80% in this heat was nightmarish, even with the Vikhrs popped. So that was definitely the little train that could. Just barely managed to go down the ramps. Thankfully didn't hit a rock and flip over to get translational lift enough to then set off. Taking off from the airbase. Mesquite. Oh, it feels so lovely. All the hydraulics, all the autopilots. And actual power to just stay afloat. That's pretty amazing too. Okay, so route mode I've just activated because I want to be heading back to the saved coordinates, which I thankfully retained for that reactor. I can take off the target point. No longer necessary. I wonder if those hinds went looking for me and missed me. I no longer need air-to-air mode. Oh, why is this laser failing like that? Yeah. That looks like our payload. I suppose not payload, but objective. No.
Lower gear.
Altitude hold. I can just collective brake trim that in. And let me see if I can get that sling loading. Laser cami off. Ah, you're supposed to go all cargoes, reactor. Ah, and now if you go F10 all cargoes reactor, then you get this. You can use the, forgot the keybinds, external cargo indicator. And the other ones I've mapped as well is auto unhook and hook. I'm assuming I'm going to use hook in a second. So that's fucking to be slightly off the left. Oh. Okay, so I don't want this dragging. And now I'm stirring the soup. You know what, autopilot hold, alt hold rather, can go off. Cool music. So yeah, that little cool sound effect you heard, that was one thing specifically that Jungle Strike I recall having, is outside of having a really kick-ass metal starting sort of intro track, the rest of the music in it and the little cinematic sequences, they were also pretty cool, and all the sound effects were very just visceral and good sounding. I don't mean realistic, I mean as in the cannon had this nice meaty heavy thud to it, the winch had all these sort of clanking noises as the supposed bay doors not closed around it. There was some really cool elements to it. I'm not saying I don't like the Ka-50 sounds, I just mean, you know, for a game of that time, That was pretty cool. And if I recall, Desert Strike, I never really played that, I just saw it. Didn't quite have the same meatiness to sounds. And I think in Future Strike, or the next one, Urban Strike, or whatever it was called, they also sort of grayed out a lot of stuff to these same bland, generic urban landscapes. And I think the sound also took a bit of a hit there. Although I might be incorrect, but I think the look of the... So Desert Strike was an Apache, and Urban Strike, I think they went with something looking like that fictional KA, I think it's 58 Ghost or something like that, which is, as far as I know, pure fiction, not actually a prototype ever, but... Although it does also look similar to the Ka-50, one of its early prototypes, when it was a bit more sleek, had less of a nose and more streamlined boxy look. I mean, I know it's disguised as a fuel tank, but if I understand correctly, you know, these loads, you know, they swing typically a bit less if they're heavier, and I mean, this thing's meant to be 2,000 Ks, what's it, 3,000-ish pounds? Or 3.5-ish. So, I mean, I know it's a slightly odd shape, and I know the reactor isn't necessarily filling up that whole volume with heavy condensed matter, but still. Seems to be swinging a bit more than I'd think it would, but then again, there's a bit of wind. If I was using skill right now, you know, I'd use a normal time and show you what I'm doing, but at the moment, everything's plotted in sort of minor turbulence. I don't think the cable's hanging far back. I think the cable plus reactor is about 20 meters. So, just past the front of the house. Or warehouse at least. Am I picking it up? Yeah, it's still barely at 20 meters floating. Let's get a bit of height. Tiny bit less. I need to be heading slightly forward. Seems like drift there. Or to unhook.
Lower gear.
Okay, all objectives complete. Okay, so... Airfield 1. Route mode. Are you unhooked? Are you actually unhooked? Is your... Okay. Reactor, someone else's problem. mission complete music. I had to keep quiet during the music there. That was pretty epic. So this has been, yeah, not a short little quest. Wait, what was the startup time? Does it even say? Yeah, okay, obviously not real world time, but I mean, some of it was accelerated, but you get the impression. It's not a short mission. It's an excellent mission though. In one or two small fixes Nixon might apply, but yeah. If I haven't convinced him to put it online, have a swirl, check out the description below. This is Volk. Enjoy.